The last train out of Brooklyn that night was almost empty. Marcus liked it that way. He worked late shifts at the bar, and the silence of the near-deserted subway car felt like a reward. He sat near the back, his head leaning against the cool window, letting the rattle of the train lull him into a trance. It was past 2 a.m., the kind of time when the city seemed to hold its breath. As the train roared into the next tunnel, Marcus noticed the overhead lights flicker. A normal thing, he told himself, but then something strange happened. The usual roar of the train echoed back differently, like the tunnel was suddenly wider than it should have been, almost hollow. The sound reminded him of standing in a cavern, or worse, a basement. Then, over the screeching metal and air pressure, he swore he heard something else. A voice. Faint, childlike, calling from somewhere below the tracks. He sat up, straining to hear, but the sound was gone as quickly as it had come. The train screeched to a stop at a station he didn't recognize. The nameplate was grimy, its letters barely readable. He couldn't remember a stop here on this line. The lights inside the train flickered again and died completely, leaving only the faint glow of emergency lighting. The doors hissed open with a sound that felt too loud in the silence. Marcus thought about staying put, but a strange compulsion tugged at him. He stepped onto the platform. The station smelled like wet concrete and rust. It was colder here, too, the kind of cold that seeps into your bones. The walls were tagged with graffiti, some of it fresh, some of it so old it had become part of the wall itself. As the train doors closed behind him and the car pulled away, the emptiness hit him. He was alone. Or at least, he thought he was. From somewhere below, he heard it again, that faint voice. A little clearer this time. It sounded like it was crying. Marcus walked toward the sound, realizing there were old metal stairs at the far end of the platform leading down into a maintenance tunnel. There were no signs, no do not enter warnings, just the dark gaping mouth of the stairs. He told himself this was stupid. The city was full of weird noises, pipes, rats, echoes. But then the voice came again, a desperate whisper, "Help me." Marcus pulled out his phone. No signal. Its dim light barely cut through the black. Still, he started down the stairs. The air grew colder. He could hear water dripping somewhere ahead, and the smell of mildew got stronger. The tunnel opened up into an old service corridor, lined with rusted pipes. Some of them hissed softly as if breathing. The crying grew louder, but it didn't echo the way it should have. It sounded like it was coming from everywhere at once. Marcus turned a corner and nearly tripped over something on the floor, a shoe. Small, pink, covered in grime. A child's shoe. His stomach knotted. Suddenly, the light on his phone flickered, and for a split second, he thought he saw someone standing at the far end of the corridor. Small. Motionless. Watching. When the light steadied, the figure was gone. Marcus should have left right then, but something kept him moving. He found himself in a large chamber beneath the tracks, a forgotten maintenance hub. The ceiling dripped, the floor was slick, and the walls were covered in strange markings, half graffiti, half something older, symbols carved into the concrete itself. Then he heard it clearly, a child's laugh, echoing behind him. He spun around, his light swinging wildly. The chamber was empty. But on the far wall, words had been smeared in what looked like rust or maybe something worse, "Don't follow the voices." Marcus's heart pounded. He turned back toward the exit, but the corridor didn't look the same anymore. It felt longer, the angles wrong, the shadows too deep. His light caught movement, something darting just out of view. Then the crying turned into something else. A chorus of voices, dozens of them, whispering, overlapping. Some were pleading, some were angry, some sounded like they were right behind his ear. Marcus ran. The corridor twisted in ways he didn't remember, every corner looking the same. His phone light died completely. The only illumination now was a faint green glow from ahead. He followed it, desperate, and found himself at another set of tracks, but these were not in use. They were old, corroded, the wooden ties rotting. And standing in the middle of them was the figure he had glimpsed before. It was a girl, no more than 10 years old, wearing a dirty white dress and one shoe. She stared at him with wide, hollow eyes. Her mouth opened as if to speak, but what came out was not a human sound. It was a deep, resonant rumble, like the sound of an oncoming train, but there was no train. The ground shook. The tracks vibrated. From the black tunnel behind the girl, a light appeared. Headlights. A train was coming, fast. Marcus backed away, but the girl didn't move. The roar grew deafening, the wind of its approach slamming against him. At the last moment, the girl smiled. And then the light engulfed them both. When Marcus opened his eyes, he was lying on the floor of a normal subway platform. His phone buzzed to life, showing missed calls and messages. The station name was one he knew. The next train arrived moments later, full of normal passengers. No one believed him when he told the story. But a week later, a commuter reported seeing a small girl in a white dress standing on the tracks at that very station. When workers went down to investigate, they found no one, but they did find a single, small, pink shoe. And every few nights, after the last train has passed, workers say they still hear faint crying coming from the tunnels.